Hi everybody, welcome back again to my little corner of YouTube, and I'm happy that you're here. According to your knowledge and your will for me, what you say you have done, I just need to align, oh, because you are not a man that changes your mind, oh. Those that know you will trust in you, not in horses and chariots. By the arm of flesh, no man can prevail. I don't even know where to start. Guys, I don't know where to start. To begin to thank God for what He has done. Our God is a faithful God. He is never failing, never changing. Nothing is too difficult for Him to do. He has shown up and shown out in situations that I ordinarily couldn't have taken myself out of, in places where it felt like I had hit rock bottom. I had, come to the end of the road and there was no turning back or going forward. God just, in His infinite mercy, pours out His compassion and just makes a way where there's no way for me. And the testimony I'm about to give is one of those times, one of those seasons. And I hope that as I speak of the goodness of God in my life, that He encourages somebody out there who is trusting God for a testimony as well. I just want to let you know that our God can be trusted. No matter what you're going through, God is faithful and there's nothing too hard for Him to do. So in November last year, I lost my job unexpectedly, out of nowhere. It just happened. And okay, a little backstory, right? I got to work that morning and I was told by my line manager that my colleague was given an assignment to carry out the day before. Okay, let me put some perspective to it, right? I was on morning shift that week and she was on the night shift, like the afternoon shift that spills over to the night time, right? So usually if you're on the morning shift, it's 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then afternoon stroke night shift is 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., right? So I came for the morning shift a day before, clocked out at 2 p.m. and I headed home, right? She clocked in at 2 p.m. Our boss gave her an assignment and she didn't carry it out before the close of business that day. That is before 8 p.m. that day. So when I came in the next day, 8 a.m., I carried out my duties. Then our boss reminded her in our WhatsApp group chat that there's something she was asked to do. Tagged her name and asked her if she had done it. She didn't respond. A few minutes to 2 p.m., she came in and I asked her, "Oh, did you see boss's message? I think you should jump on it." She's like, "Oh yeah, she's going to get to it right now." She sat down and started. I was still in the office. At this time, it was like past 2 p.m. She started. She asked me, "Oh, how should she do this?" I'm like, "Okay, do this, do that." She was on it. She was almost done. And I'm like, "Okay." So since my shift is over, make I carry my bag, they go house, right? I mean, I was not asked to do this with her, but I still like gave her one or two tips. We rubbed minds together basically. So I took my bag and I left. I didn't check my phone all the way through to when I got to the house, only for me to open WhatsApp as soon as I got into the house and I saw, "Oh, you left this, that." I tried to explain myself. I'm like, "No, sir, that was not what happened. I didn't just leave." I tried to explain myself. It was like I was pouring water on fire. It's like, "Oh, that was nonchalance on your part, this and that." And I was so freaking confused. Before I could say Jack, I was removed from the group. And the next thing, I was told that if there's anything in my custody that belonged to the company, I should bring it back and that my letter will be served to me. I literally was sitting at this spot and I didn't know how to process my feelings. But you know, one thing I did, if I remember vividly, was I knelt down and praised God. I knelt down and said, "Thank you, Jesus," like before any other reaction. I mean, as time went on, of course, I cried and stuff. I really felt bad. I'm like, job where they manage. But then it happened. And that was actually when I picked up my YouTube channel and started being serious. It was about this time last year. If you scroll through my videos, you notice that it was around December, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that I went to do my wooden ring light, and then I started shooting videos and posting on my phone. But back to the story. That was how your sister lost her job. It wasn't funny. It wasn't. But I didn't lose hope. It wasn't a case of despair. What I said to myself was, I'm not going to let this thing drain me, because at the end of the day, God is my source. The week following, on the Tuesday of the week following, I had visited my mother's friend. If you're conversant with my older videos, I'm sure you know her by now. So I had visited her, one thing led to another, and her daughter, one of her daughters, spoke about when women pray. I was not invited. I willingly asked. I was like, okay, where is it? I would like to come and visit, right? So she had mentioned that there was a branch in my city, and the next Tuesday I found myself in that branch. I fellowshiped with them that day. It was an amazing, awesome experience, and just then I told myself, okay, I want to be a part of this. And that was how I started going to When Women Pray in my city. I can't remember how many Tuesdays I missed. I'm sorry if I sound off. I'm having sore throat, and oh, this weather is crazy. But we move. So that was how I started attending When Women Pray. I'll go on Tuesdays, I'll go on Fridays for evangelism. The first department I ever joined was evangelism department. I joined it in November of that same 2022, and every time we would go and spread the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I even made a video then. I said a believer can never be unemployed. There's so much work to do in the Father's house, and so if you feel like you don't have a job or you don't have a stream of income, focus on the business in the Father's house, and then everything will fall in place. I said to myself, I don't want to just be home, and just have my thoughts flying around. So I made a decision that while I'm waiting on God for my big break and the next phase, I'm going to make myself relevant in the house of God, and I'm going to go about my Father's business. So I don't want to magnify the fact that I'm currently unemployed. I've decided to employ myself in the vineyard of God and make myself relevant. Because one thing I know about God is that He's a rewarder, and I've made up my mind. I made up my mind to serve, to serve in the vineyard of God. And by doing so, I have found that as a Christian, I cannot actually say that I am not employed, because there are souls to be won. There's so much to do in the house of God. So I can actually be busy doing that while God is molding my life and my path. That's my mindset right now, and I'm sticking with that. If you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus Christ, but you're going through a phase in life where you're waiting for things to unfold, I suggest that you become a vessel of honor. Let God pour into you while you pour into others. Try and serve in your local church. Try and serve when you meet strangers. Try and serve when you interact with your family members or friends. Shine your light. You are the salt of the earth, and you're a city set on a hill. Unemployment or any form of challenges that you might be facing should not deter your light from shining. So shine regardless, okay? I was doing all of those things out of faith. I didn't see any way out in my own limited mind, but God had it all planned out. So yeah, I kept evangelizing. In February of this year, which was like 3 months later or 4 months, unexpectedly I was called upon to come and lead a particular department, and I was like, I didn't see it coming. I'm like, God, what? So that was it. I became a leader in that department. Of course, being human, no matter how much I trusted God, I still had my moments of doubt of where my next meal will come from, because being unemployed in a country like Nigeria, I'm not saying being unemployed anywhere is better, but in a country like Nigeria, where I don't want to sound negative, but you know what I mean if you're in Nigeria. But yeah, basically being unemployed, okay, let me generalize it. Being unemployed is not a funny experience. But for the most part, I still trusted God, and I kept carrying out my assignments. Stay with me, I'm heading somewhere. So, one thing worthy of mention is how faithful God was, even in the midst of that situation. At least I never starved. God just made a way. God made a way. Like, I got help. I got sufficient help to carry me through that stage. Like, that stage of not earning anything and just not knowing what to do next, okay? God came through for me. He used people to make sure that I didn't hit rock bottom, literally, and I can't even begin to express my gratitude. I don't take it for granted, because it's one thing for God to speak to somebody, it's another thing for the person to actually adhere to the voice of God. So, like, God really, really came through for me. It went on for months and months and months and months. Then recently, I decided I was going to, try to dabble into real estate. Meanwhile, when all these things were happening, I started taking courses online as much as my data could carry me, because remember, I was unemployed. I was trying to manage the little I could, get at that point, and I was uploading on YouTube. Now that I even think about it, I don't know how I was doing all those things. God is really, really faithful. My rent had expired. It was just, God just came through in diverse ways. God came through in so many ways. Along the line, I now decided, okay, let me see what real estate will offer me. Anytime I have transport, I'll go to Abuja, go to my classmate's office. She already has an established real estate firm. I'll go there, I'll sit down. I was literally trying to get into it. I even actually bought a shoe so that I look corporate, and whenever she's going to do her sightseeing and house viewing, I'll go with her. I'm sure if you're really conversant with my channel, you would have seen some of those videos. In my head, I'm like, okay, at least whenever I get any buyer, we can do business together, right? That was the plan, which of course I've not given up on. One day I went to her office and she was not around. A day before I went to her office, one of my former colleagues called me on the phone. She's like, would you like to come back and manage the studio? I'm like, it sounded like sand in my ear. I'm like, I beg, sorry, I'm not interested. I told her, well, I need a job, but I'm not sure I would like to. I don't think I'm interested. I'm sorry, I need a job, but no. Why? Because of the way I was laid off. It was so uncalled for. So it's not like I held any grudge against my employer, but I just I just didn't want to, like, it was just a lot for me, right? So I declined. Fast forward to the day I went to see my classmate in her office again, like I used to. I used to do it like twice in a week or once in a week, as much as I could, because transport. So I was sitting there that day, she was not around. Suddenly I got a call from another former colleague. I didn't think much of it. I picked up the phone and she's like, oh, that the former person is no longer there, the person who was managing the place, and so the opportunity is vacant, that I could come and give it another try, that it's like is a clean slate, and this and that and that. I'm like, I'm not sure, honestly, I'm not sure. She's like, that my boss is actually waiting right now, we can speak right now. I'm like, for sure I'm not going today, I'm not prepared for that. Even if I'm ever going to, maybe to be like on Monday. Mind you, this was happening on a Friday. So Shisha spoke and talked and this and that, and convinced me to go. So I got home, I really battled with my mind. I was like, is this worth it? I started playing back everything that had happened when I was working there previously. I'm like, is this a good thing? Is this from God and stuff? I sought counsel from friends, and I was just battling with my mind. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, one thing I've always done is I've always committed everything that has to do with me in the hands of God. And I'm like, God will not allow anything that is not his will to come for me and come close to me. So I prayed about it. I didn't feel any resistance in my spirit. So I decided, okay, Monday morning I was going to go there. The Spirit of God started softening my mind towards it. And then on Monday I got there. I waited. I didn't wait for too long. When I got there, I saw new faces, of course. And then I saw the first person that had called me to ask if I would like to come back. She was happy to see me. I saw some other old faces as well. We hugged and exchanged pleasantries. I waited for some time, and then my boss came along. I went into his office and we had a very brief meeting. He started asking me, Sandra, why did I even let you go in the first place? I was smiling. I just smiled. I was like, I told him what happened. He's like, oh yeah, really? Yeah. Like, okay, so is this something you want to take up again? I'm like, yes. We spoke and this and that. Anyway, and just like that, it wasn't an interview, it was like catching up kind of thing. It was not any interview. Of course, they already knew my capabilities, and so there was no beating about the bush. It's something I was already used to, the system I'm already conversant with. So I was like, okay, let me introduce you to the team again. Let me reintroduce you to the team. So he took me to the back office. I said, this is Sandra, blah, blah, blah. She's going to be supervising and this and that. Everybody clapped for me. And he's like, nobody should stress her. She is, wait for it, Jesus baby. Now that one sweet me past that. I mean, I'm not a perfect human being, but my identity does not hide. I am Jesus baby with my full chest. That's what a few people call me in my office, Jesus baby. It's so funny. But anyway, it was so surreal. He asked me, when would you like to resume? I said, okay, give me the next day. I'll resume the third day. Like, I went today on a Monday. I wanted to fully resume on a Wednesday. And that was it. That was how I resumed work. And there's one thing, I actually saw my boss in a dream weeks before everything started playing out. When I saw him in my dream, it was like in an office setting. He was kind of speaking to me about something, an assignment or something. I can't remember. It's vague right now. But I know I saw him in my dream. And when I woke up, I asked myself, why am I seeing him in my dream? And only for these things to play out weeks later. And I'm like, God was actually speaking to me. So yeah, it's good to be very sensitive in the spirit and always stay plugged in to your source, because God will show you things before they happen and you can trust him through every process. And I'm so happy to be back at work. I'm putting in the best that I know I can put in, trying to develop myself and make sure that my impact is felt. Yes, I got my job back, but ultimately God is my source. This job is not the source of my provision. This job is just a medium. God can make a way out of nowhere. Like, I was unemployed for almost a year and I did not starve. Yes, I didn't have income coming in, but somehow God always came through. Would I want to be in that position again? No, I want to rise. And I know that God is taking me through a process. He's taking me through levels, and I'm just holding his hand, or rather he's holding my hand through it. I trust him so much. This experience has really, really, really strengthened my faith so much that in every other area of my life where I'm expecting the hand of God, I trust him now more than ever. Because before this came, I remember one day we went out to evangelize. We were on top of an open truck. It was about to be a 1 year anniversary of when women pray in my city, so we went to share tracks. I was just so moody that day. I was crying. My landlord had knocked on my door to remind me of his money, and then I just didn't know what to do. But I still went out to evangelize. I covered my eyes with shades. I was weeping, literally. I'm like, God, see, I'm not doing this thing because of what I want you to do for me. But look at, still, at the end of the day, I'm still working in your vineyard. See me in an open truck, like a pickup, open lorry, literally, with microphones and speakers, unashamed of the gospel, And I'm like, come through for me. What do you want me to do? Like, you're literally all I have. And not too long after that, he made a way. God made a way. God can be trusted. And since then, even any challenge I face, I'm like, no be the God will do this one. He has really strengthened my faith to the point where these days, like, if a challenge tries to rear its ugly head, I'm like, God, no be the same God will do this thing. Gave me back my job on a platter of gold. I didn't need to lobby. I didn't need to know anybody. God just put a burden on the hearts of the people that mattered, and my job was given back to me. What else can he not do for me? My faith is not shaking anymore. I know they feel, because this is literally an impossible situation. Even my boss said it that day, that nobody has ever left that company and come back to it. But because I'm Jesus baby, I'm back here. Everybody started clapping. Do you get? See, I don't even know. I'm not the best at narrating, but I hope I made sense. I just want to let you know that That thing you're trusting God for, even when it feels like it will not happen again, it can happen as long as it's God's will. See, that your marriage, that your relationship, that thing, that money you think you've lost, whatever it is that you've lost, and you feel like there's no remedy, whatever it is you're going through, and you feel like that is the end of the road, no, my darling, it is not. The God that did it for me will come through for you. Yes, so we're in the second week of December 2023. The year is literally wounding up and rounding up and coming to an end. But don't give up. Don't give up. We serve a God of the 11th hour. He will do it for you. He will come through for you. Just hold on to him. Stay prayed up. Hold on to him. Don't give up on God. He will not give up on you. Don't throw in the towel. Look at me very well. My name is Sandra Getchaham. If God could give me back a job I lost, there's nothing he cannot do. Because it's one thing to read the Bible and have faith from what has happened to the people in the scriptures. It's another thing to have your own personal experience and personal conviction. This thing that God did for me, how many times have you heard that somebody lost their jobs and they got it back? It's not something that happens every day. It happened to me. So I'm telling you from a place of victory that God will come through for you in a way that you never imagined. And when he does it, he will do it in a way that you could have never seen coming. That's one thing about God. I remember when this thing happened, everybody was like, oh, are you sure you will not beg? Are you sure you will not go and beg? I'm like, me, it's not pride though. I did not do anything. I'm not going to beg. I'm going to see the salvation of God in this situation. I mean, the first month, second month, fifth month, 8th month, 10th month before my miracle came. And this is just a stepping stone. God will still do more, and I trust him. So again, I encourage you, hold on. The year might be over. Who knows? Maybe by the 25th, 27th, even the 31st of December, that thing you've been crying about since the beginning of this year, the answer will come. Why not hold on? Why not trust God? Don't do anything that you're going to regret. Hold on to God. When I say hold on to God, hold on to his word. Believe his word. Pray. Stay in the secret place of the Most High. Befriend the Spirit of God. Befriend the Holy Ghost. See, be a worker in the vineyard of God. I said I didn't have any, even my perfume business, I was not able to. Prices were going up. The little money I had to, it was just a crazy situation. But I stayed, I became a worker in the vineyard of God. Every Tuesday, I would be in church, like in the fellowship, praying every Tuesday, doing my assignments every day. When I got back my job, my neighbors saw me coming back one evening. They said, that they used to see me every Tuesday, every Friday, wearing my pink t-shirt, almost every Friday wearing my pink t-shirt, going for evangelism. That was I thinking God was not seeing it. I didn't know when tears came down from my eye. They're like, that I dedicated my life to that period, that they knew that a testimony was coming. They danced, those women, they danced, praised God on my behalf. I don't want this thing to be too long. I'm just telling you that you can trust God. Amaka, Nkechi, Chinedu, Bolaji, whoever you are that you're watching this video, you can trust God. It will end in praise. Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to share this testimony. I hope one person was blessed from this testimony I just shared, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you and bye. Ask Abraham and Sarah, and the woman with the issue of blood. Oh, absolutely nothing hard for you. Ask Mama Hannah, blind Bartimaeus, make you go ask the Israelites. There is not. Oh.